The Black Fat Femme Podcast is a production of iHeartRadio and Dr. John Paul, LLC. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the award-winning Black Fat Femme Podcast, where all the intersections of identity are celebrated. I'm one of your hosts, John, also known as Dr. John Paul. And yes, it has been a couple of, I would say it's been about, a week and a half. We're sorry, so let me just go ahead and say I was sick. I got sick. And before y'all ask any questions, yes, it was. But all that to be said, mother is better now. She did her rest. She drank her water. And I am pretty much sure it was SFS that got me. And the thing was that I was still wearing a mask. I wore a mask the entire time I was there. So it had to have happened. Yeah, girl. So it had to have happened between the span of the time of me taking off my mask when I got off the plane and me heading home from the airport from LAX. So just letting y'all know, like, this, whatever strain of this, I'll just name it, whatever strain of COVID this is, Mama she's COVIDing. Mama will get you. So
She means business.
She means business, mother. And it's not even just me. It was, I know, at least maybe at this point, probably 5 people who have it. And so it's just, and again, it's not trying to COVID shame nobody. Understand, we all got to work. We got lives. We got stuff to do. But she out there. She is out there. And she is, and she got me. I felt bamboozled, hoodwinked. I didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us, girl. She got me. But anyway, all that to be said, I'm well. I'm hoping everyone else who's dealing with either colds, whatever this is going around, COVID, whatever the case may be, I hope you get better. And just let you know, again, mask up, girl, because mama's out there. She should get you. But anyway, how are you, Joho?
First of all, I am so glad that you're okay, because I was worried about you. So many people I know have it as well too, which is wild.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people are getting it left and right, and I truly don't know how. Like, so far I'm dodging it, knock on wood, because I've been exposed like twice now, and I'm like, why is it ever trying to come for me? And now I'm like, you hoes are not safe. I'm not seeing anybody in this world. Like, no one, no more friends, no new friends, no old friends. I'm sitting the fuck home. Like, don't get me sick, because it is not worth it for me, and it's not the journey I want. And I'm so happy that you're feeling better. You sound really good as well too.
Thank you, love.
I really hope that you have no lasting effects from it, that you don't develop symptoms of long COVID. You just stay okay, because so many folks I know are getting it now too. Also, I see you with a little Dr. Hadassah. We land Plymouth Rock, land on us. Know what I'm cooking? I miss that show so much. But that's neither here nor there. Y'all, it is Joho, aka Jordan, your lightly melanated co-host in this award-winning duo. Not to tell y'all about a new thing I tried this week. I'm so excited to tell y'all. It's really cool. It's called Minding Your Business. I tried it. I did.
I know
I
that's
tried
right.
it. My whole life, my parents told me to learn how to mind my business. And I was like, no, that's not for me. But this week, I exercised minding my business, and wow, what a moment. What a concept. I truly live. I understand now why my dad especially was like, mind your own business. Just mind your own business. And I was like, that's so dumb, because you are my business. And like, this is my business. And he was like, it actually is not your business. I was like, that's so dumb. It is. But now, as an adult, at the ripe age of 29, I realized, oh, actually, it is not my business. As my friend says, not my circus, not my monkeys. And so I realized mind your business is actually a great thing to do. And so I really encourage all y'all to try it one day, because it really is life changing.
Yes. It'll get you together every time. I tell you, sometimes I'll see things and I'll just go, that ain't got nothing to do with me.
Right?
I'll just move on about my business.
You take a moment, you pause, you're like, actually, it's not for me.
None
of
my business.
And you're like,
none of my business.
Look at God. Look at the world. It's like, actually, girl, go touch grass. You're fine.
Amen.
You're fine.
Amen. Yes, but with that being said, we got someone here who gonna get in our business this week, and I'm really happy to have them. This week in our third seat, we have an amazing guest who I've been following for some time, and I am really excited and thankful that they said yes to being on the show. And again, another week we're getting into some kind of touching on some politics. I've been telling our listeners that there's no way around it. We're just in a time right now where everything is
Period.
political. This is a political year. And so it'd be very silly of us for us to not have conversations about politics on our show when being Black Fat Femme is a politics. So, with that being said, we're excited to have
Mhm.
a prominent political commentator, activist, and media personality with us who is an incisive analysis, known for their incisive analysis and passionate about all things social justice. With the background rooted in journalism and political strategy, our guest has become a respected voice in American media. And I just have to say, I just love going back and forth with them on social media. And one of the things I always like to say is trust Black women. And so I'm always so happy when we have a Black woman on the show. Please give it up for Danielle Moodie. How are you, sis?
I
Yes.
am so good. That introduction was the most. Thank you so much.
Everybody always says that when they're on the show. They're like, oh my God, that intro is, they're like, you're going to have to write our intros from here on out. And I'm like, you know what? Why would I invite a guest on the show? And they're just like, give it up for our guest. Like I
Okay,
got
so
to
my
talk
question
them
is like,
up.
who was giving y'all intros to begin
Right.
with? Like, who is setting the bar so low for y'all? Because y'all deserve great intros.
Amen.
So
Amen.
it's
I
it's what she
appreciate it.
deserves. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
it
Like,
is
it's
what
what she deserves.
we it is truly what you deserves. I mean, and your locks is giving everything. The face pod is
Yes.
clearing. Mama came to work today. I know that's right. She
The
said,
nails is nailing. They're a cute color, the cute
"Mhm,
shape. I see
mhm,
those
the
nails, boo.
beautiful skin
Yes. I was like, oh,
color.
come on, Twinsy.
We gonna talk you up, honey, because you are absolutely beautiful. I love to see it."
Thank
All
you.
right. Well, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and jump into our first segment. As we do every single week, we give Miss Tisha Campbell her flowers in our segment Still Here. And this week, we are talking about something that I like to think is controversial in the Black community.
Dangerous.
Um, so I'm going to come out the gate swinging and ask the question,
Dangerous. Mm-mm.
what is a popular, unpopular, what is something in your mind that you believe is very controversial? And when I say controversial, I mean Black controversial. And so what I'm going to go ahead and say this week for my Black controversial topic is Brandy One and the Boy Is Mine. I don't care what nobody says. She had better vocals and all of her lines were better than Monica. Now, I'm not here to shade Monica. I don't want to get shot because Monica run up on you. I'm just here to
She'll kick down your
say,
doors and smack your chick, okay?
you're
Just to show you that Monica ain't having it.
right. So I don't want to get shot. I'm just here to say though that Brandy won and the boy is mine. Like think about it. So let's break it down real quick and then I'll pass it to you, Danielle, and then we'll go ahead and jump to you, Joho. Brandy said, "What makes you think that he wants you when I'm the one who brought him to a very special place inside my heart? He was my love from the start." You can't beat that. You can't. You just can't beat it. She had all the best lines in that song. She won, clearly. So that's my controversial take, my Black take. I was also going to say that sugar goes on grits, but we've been down this road a million
You've been
times
that road too
and
many
I don't need
times.
any more hate mail. But anyway, what's a Black controversial topic piece thing that you want to go ahead and bring to the board, Danielle?
It comes around what I think every Thanksgiving, which is the debate about macaroni and cheese.
Okay.
And
Okay.
Mark Lamont Hill is probably one of the biggest people who comes out and says that macaroni and cheese is just noodles and cheese, that it is not, it should not be revered as a dish. And I could not disagree more vehemently with him on that topic. Everyone knows, Black people know exactly how important macaroni and cheese is. You
Amen.
don't let
I know.
everybody make it. You
Yes.
don't let everybody bring it. And there are levels to it.
T.
So that is my controversial
I
take.
love to, you know what? And you're right. I will say I've never been a mac and cheese girly like that. The way that people feel about mac and cheese is the way I feel about potato salad. I've written a whole article about it. I'm very passionate about potato salad. I just am.
I was gonna say, I respectfully and politically disagree with Mark Lamont Hill on this one as well. And I am with you, Danielle. I see you, my sis. I
Yeah,
see you. Because mac
yeah,
and cheese is the dish it needs to be.
yeah.
It does what it needs to do every single year when it's made by the
Every
right
time.
person.
If it's
Every
made by
time.
the right person, yes.
Yeah, if it's made by the right person, yes, yes, yes. But hence why it becomes a controversial discussion.
Right.
because we made by the right person.
Right, right.
Oh, Sean, I love this question. And I read this question. First, I read this question wrong. I thought you were just going into the Brandy thing. I was like, I refuse to participate in this conversation
No.
because it's just not a fair battle. Like, it wasn't a fair battle between them in the first place. One, like, it's Brandy's song. Like Brandy wrote the song, right? And so I'm like, I don't think it's a fair battle. Like, it's just not fair. But you weren't getting, you weren't. That wasn't the question. Which I'm like, okay, thank God, because I was like, I cannot get into this battle right now because many people would disagree that I think someone else held their own in that
She held her own.
in
So
that
I want
song.
to make sure I make it
She held her
clear.
own.
She held her own,
But she didn't win.
but she did not win.
That's
That is just what I'm here to say.
so my caveat has been I think Monica won the music video,
T.
and I think Brandy won the song.
Okay.
That's what I can say.
Okay, that's fair.
I think vocally the
Mhm.
song, but in terms of music video, Monica won that, ate that shit down.
Mhm.
Controversial, in the Black community, the no one's ready to discuss. I think, okay, I think no, I think there's a rare time where I think we as a community really love white singers. And we only name them like one at a time in life. But I think we won't talk about like them all as a group together. I
Mhm.
think we don't get into the blue-eyed soul people of like the whole amalgamation of them. I think we refuse to because I think we'll recognize we actually love white singers more than we say we do. And so I think no one's really discussed the list of white singers that we actually all rock with, like from beginning to end. I think we give like 2-3 at a time. Once every year there's someone that we're like, this person, they got the voice.
Amen.
But
Amen.
I don't think I don't think we're just discuss that we actually love X amount of people so damn much that we would ride for them. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
and singers. I mean, also mean actor. Like there are people that like when people are like Anne Hathaway is. Anne Hathaway never said that word in her movie, right?
Right.
That's the like we need to have a list of people, not just Anne Hathaway, because that's my girl right there.
Yeah.
So I think no one's really discussed the list of people that we actually love,
Yeah.
because we don't want to say we love white folks too much,
T.
but I think it's at a point where I'm like, we kind of do it sometimes, y'all. We kind of do.
Yeah.
So that's just my my little hot
The
take.
way Black people go up for Meryl Streep is a thing. I will say that every time Lost Without You by Robin Thicke comes on, I definitely turn that up. Yes. I mean, sometimes there's a song by Adele that'll make me want to just be like, I mean, there are a couple of white Britney Spears. I'll
See?
say this and then we'll go ahead and go to commercial. I always think about, would I allow this white person to come to my house for dinner? And even though Britney Spears is a little out there, I would still be, come on in here, girl, because I'm sure that she's fun to be around. Like, even though she's a little out there
That's
right
how I feel about
now.
Adele.
I always say Kathy
That's
Griffin
how I feel
is a
about
good white person to me. She's one of those white people that I would love to come on in here, sit down.
I don't think I'd want Britney Spears at my house. I'm gonna be
honestly,
honest with you.
I would have to hide the knives. Like, I'd have to hide the knives. Like, I just don't know. But I think John, I think that's actually a great question of who would you invite and who would you trust to bring a dish? Because, for example, like Adele, Adele would be invited to all my events, but I don't know if I trust her to bring a dish unless she bought the dish.
I believe
I was like, girl, you were just here. You're just here for laughs, babes. You're just here for laughs. I don't need you to touch.
She can bring the wine.
Yes. Bring the wine, girl. I'm sure she got a fantastic collection.
Well, she's rich,
of
so
vino.
I mean, she's rich, so she's gonna bring a really good wine. But yeah, I agree. I don't know. Maybe I have to think about that a little bit more. Britney, I guess Britney, she would touch too many things. Britney would be all over the place, and she'd be touching stuff.
She's much more dancing now.
Yeah,
I'm like, I mean,
okay,
that's just,
I understand that. But in theory, I think Britney Spears is one of the white people that I actually really enjoy.
Depends on the setting.
Yeah.
I went right from my house, but maybe to my backyard.
Maybe go get tapas with us.
She go in the backyard, just not in the house.
I respect. Okay, I see where y'all are going with that. Well, anyway, before we get down the rabbit hole, we're gonna take a quick break to pay some bills, and we're gonna come back with more foolishness in just a sec.
Hey fam, we are back, and this week we could not have on our guest and not talk about the word that so many white girl,
White.
white, all them folks on that side that they got some problem with. Yes, and the word of the day is woke. Now I know you have a show called Woke AF. We want to spend this segment breaking down that word and what it really means. So I want to first ask you, what does woke mean to you personally?
Great question. Woke to me personally means being conscious of and engaged around the dismantling of systematic oppression. So, whether
Mm,
you're looking at racial injustice, LGBTQ injustice, the lack of women's rights, Islamophobia, anti Semitism, it's the recognition that systems were not built for all of us to
mm,
succeed and to thrive.
Mm,
And what do we do about that?
yeah.
The first thing that we do is we get conscious to what is at play.
hmm Yeah. I love this question because I think that I'll start here and then we'll kind of dive in deeper. I think so many when the and I don't want to say white people because I don't want our white listeners thinking that we're targeting all white people because that's not what this combo is. What I
mhm,
think is when the right, when people who are very much in the mind of I power hungry, privileged hungry people, when they don't like a word or when they don't like the idea that we have access to a specific word, especially how enlightening it is, they make up any definition for it. And they go, this is the
mhm,
definition that it is. It's like, actually, no, Merriam's Webster says the definition is this. And so I
mhm,
love that you have a show and prepping for you to be on the show. I went through and I listened to some episodes. I looked at certain titles and I love that a lot of your show and a lot of what you're doing with your platform is kind of doing exactly that, right? You're dispelling the myths and the false narratives and the definitions, the made up definitions that people are coming up with
mm,
for
mhm.
things. And so I definitely want to say I appreciate, I always like to give people their flowers for the work that you're doing because I know it's not easy. I know I say the evils. The evils live in your DMs. I know that they probably say and do
Whew.
really terrible things. And so I think it's really cool and amazing that someone like yourself is using your platform to help enlighten people. So I wanted to ask, if possible, what has the meaning of the word woke evolved into over the years? And why? I mean, obviously, I kind of talk about this, right? Someone's going to take a term that they personally don't like, and they're going to twist it, but in your mind, what has the word woke evolved into for
Mm,
the in the last few years?
I I think that the word woke has evolved into a different kind of political consciousness,
Mm,
right? Like I think that for me, look, white people throughout history have appropriated and co-opted a whole lot of things that began in the black community, whether we're talking about music, ideology, and inventions, the list goes on. And so the word woke is no different from that into trying to turn it into something that is derogatory. So I think that
mhm,
for people like
mhm,
myself who continue to still use the word woke, and do so proudly, like what is the alternative to be asleep? What is the alternative to be a sheep? Right. And so for me, I think that how
mm,
I've seen it evolve is into an astute political consciousness and a brand in a way that people can really own,
yeah,
and say that no, I'm not walking through this life half asleep, right? Like I have an obligation and a responsibility as a citizen of this country, of the world, to participate in it wholeheartedly, and that doesn't mean just going along with what's being spoon fed to me, as propaganda.
mm. You said a mouthful, sis, but go off.
damn. Damn, you also I mean your answers are so succinct.
I was just
Like
thinking that.
like you say like the perfect amount of words, but like what you're saying is like so deep, and like I hope people are picking up on like what you're saying 'cause it's so, oh girl, it's rich.
Yeah,
It's
it
rich.
Thank
is.
you.
Okay, so along that thread, I'm curious to ask you I mean, because it has meanings, so many different meanings to different people. So I have a two-pronged question. I'm curious of like in what ways has the word become synonymous with social justice activism? Like how does it intersect with issues of race, gender, sexuality, and other identities? But I'm particularly curious as well of how your relationship with the word has maybe branded you in the work that you do, like as an activist, as a speaker, and as a political commentator?
Yeah, I mean, I'll answer the second question first, which is that I have been branded in a lot of ways as being extraordinarily unapologetic, right? Like,
Mm.
if you listen to my
Mm,
shows or
mhm.
or watch my videos on social media, I curse, right? And
See?
I express the anger and the
Mhm.
rage that I think a lot of people, particularly Black people, and queer people in this country have against a
Mm,
country that, like, you're just trying to exist inside of, and
yeah.
at every twist and turn, there is some point of oppression that is being put on our necks,
Mhm.
right? So
Mm.
I express, like, so I have been told, well, you should temper it down, right? Like, you should be, use euphemisms, and maybe change the, I was told a couple of years ago to change the name of my show.
Mm,
Mm.
So that it could be more palpable for cable news when I would go on cable news as a commentator. And I said, for who?
right.
Right? Palpable for who? For what?
Mhm.
I'm
Mm.
like, because we all should be disgusted. We all should be outdone,
Right.
right?
Right.
With what is happening in this country and what has continued to happen,
Mhm.
throughout history. So why should I pretend that it's all okay?
Mhm.
Mm.
Why should I treat the opposition with any level of respect when they don't respect us? Right? Like, you see right now at the RNC convention, the way the mainstream corporate media is, hailing the tone of this Ku Klux Klan rally that we're watching on national
Yep.
television. Right?
Yep.
Like,
Mhm.
look at
Mm.
them. They're so, their tone, they're so compelling and so entertaining. And I was like, and so was Hitler. Right? And you see where that got the people of Germany. So
Hello?
miss me with it.
Yeah.
So I think that there is a need for people in this moment to be very full throated, very full chest about what their experience is
Yep.
and what we don't want for this country.
Yeah.
But I think to your first question, with regard to how is the word embraced in culture. I mean, we've seen, look, Black people set the tone, queer people set the tone of what is considered cool, hot, right, on point. And I think that being conscious, right, is in that place. We have conscious rappers. We have, Taraji P. Henson used her moment at the BET Awards to look dead into
Mm.
the
Yeah.
camera to say Google Project 2025, right?
Yeah.
Like, being educated and
Mhm.
conscious of what
Mhm.
these systems of oppression, what white supremacy means, what patriarchy
Mm.
means, that is
Yeah.
cool, right? Like,
Yeah.
pretending that these things are not happening, becoming the Amber Rose of the group, becoming the Drake of political discourse, as Van Jones has found himself right now,
Mm.
is
Mm.
problematic. So I think that it behooves all of us to say that no, right? Like, we know better,
Mhm.
and we need to not pretend that we don't.
Mm.
Mm.
I mm. I so I had a title for this episode and you just gave us a new one. Like, girl, y'all got to know better. You please know
You got to
better.
know
You
better.
gotta know better. Oh,
Mm.
yes, you said that, sis. And what I will say is,
Mm.
so again, giving you more flowers. I appreciate how inviting you are with this, right? And so I hear this a lot. Well, why are you always so angry? Why are you so? And it's like, well, honestly, like, if oppression is, and again, we've said this in so many different iterations on the show, if you are not angry about everything that is happening to oppress people, then what? Like, then what else, sis? Right? Like, what are you not paying attention to? And this is something that and I'm going to get into more later when we get into our last segment. I've been saying so much in so many different ways. Like, people keep thinking that they're safe from all of the stuff that's happening around them, and I keep saying, honey, they're laying the foundation to come after you next. And people keep, and they're going after us
Mhm.
first to lay the foundation to go after everyone else. And when I say us, I'm talking about queer people, I'm talking about Black people, I'm talking about all,
Mhm.
like, anyone who's marginalized at this in this moment. They're laying the foundation for you so that they can go after other people to quote unquote make America great again. And so I really, really appreciate
Mm.
that you're taking a moment to really name, like, very, very fragrantly, you're naming what it is that's actually happening, and breaking it down for folks so that way
Mhm.
people can better understand. So
I
Go
just
ahead.
want
Go ahead.
can I say one quick
Yeah, for
thing?
sure.
You know, the what is so important, right? Like when people think that these bad things are not going to happen to them. Look at what is happening in the state of Florida right
Yep.
now, right? It
Yeah.
isn't just about a 6-week abortion ban. They have banned, the ability for gay and queer students to have safety in their schools.
Yep.
They have banned books. They have banned the arts, right? That's the latest thing
Yeah.
that they have banned the arts in Florida. So,
Mm.
what is happening in these places? They want to
Yep.
nationalize. So, there will not be a safe zone, a blue state or a blue city, right? They are coming for all of it.
Yep.
And that's what I think,
Mm.
that's why it's so important that shows like, like this one who are not expressly political are waking people up to the seriousness of the moment
Mm.
that we're in.
Mhm. And
Mm.
this is what I've been saying, when we were in our first couple of weeks of us being on our kind of our tour of people asking us, well, what is the show? I was, and I still say this, our show is as much as it's not a political show, it's still political because we are black fat femmes. We are everything that the world hates. And I think that that's the
Mm,
thing that folks sometimes forget is that yes, we can have fun and we can kiki and we can laugh about a lot of the things, and we do. I mean, we have almost 100 and 100 plus shows where we're laughing about how terrible this world is, and sometimes you got to laugh to get through it. But the reality of the matter
mhm,
is that as we're laughing, we also have to educate and get other people to that place where they're waking up too. And that's why I said I love the idea that
Mm.
your show is called Woke as Fuck, because the reality is that in 2024 going into 2025, we cannot go, that has nothing to do with me, that's not my issue,
yep.
that's not my concern. No, it is. As much as you think it's not, eventually it will become your issue too. So what I did want to ask you while we have you is, I keep hearing everyone say there's a danger around woke culture, and I know that to not be true, but there might be folks who hear that and may not fully understand the undertone of that conversation, right? So I wanted to ask, is there a danger of woke culture becoming performative rather than substantive in promoting the change we need to help black and queer people?
Mm.
That's a really good question. Look, I think that everything can become performative in the hands of
Hmm.
of the wrong
Yeah.
people, who are just using it as an opportunity to, get their name out there, but
Mm.
not really have any connection to the community
Amen.
or to
Mhm.
a movement in any type of way. But as a whole, no, again, I think that wokeness is about consciousness. It's about conscious
Mm.
raising. It's about us asking critical questions about what we've been fed our whole lives, right? About,
Mm.
for instance, American exceptionalism, right?
Mm.
Oh, America is this, this beacon, on a hill. Is it really? Right? Because if you go into other
Mm.
places where we have been littering bombs and killing children and doing these things, like, do they think that America is a beacon on a hill?
No.
Right? That the cost of that our liberty comes at the cost of other people's lives and
Yeah.
freedom. So I think that there are critical
Mm.
questions that what wokeness does is say, let us ask, right?
Mhm.
Why?
Mhm.
Instead of just ingesting it, right? Without questioning what we're putting in our mouths,
Yeah.
what we're pledging allegiance to, right? What we are holding up as truth. Is it truth? But whose truth is it?
Mhm.
Right.
Mm.
Mhm.
So, like, this is why there is a war on critical thought right now, and why you have these governors in red states talking about they're banning books. They don't want any mention of African American studies, gender studies, fluidity, any of those things, because what does that do? It creates a level of autonomy
Yep.
over people and
Yeah.
their
Sure
stories,
does.
right? And so, if you can
Mm.
negate their stories, in service of your own agenda, which is white supremacy and patriarchy, then you win.
Mhm.
So I think that, like, wokeness again, there the danger in it is not taking it seriously. The danger in it is allowing those that have built systems of oppression to give you the books and give you the curriculum for which you should study and
Mhm.
find your way to liberation
Mhm.
through.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah, before you go, Joe,
Mm.
because you have I know you have a great question. I was gonna say you struck a chord chord with me because I've been low key like tweeting slash writing about this across my social media. I think about the ways that the American dream is sold to you when you're a child, right? There's two thoughts I have. The whole notion of you can be anything when you grow up, and then you grow up and then you start realizing, well, nope, you can't be. You basically got to be a white straight cis man, in order to be able to get
Mhm.
that job, right? So I think I've been thinking about that a lot of like how much the American dream, I know we joke about the American dream being a scam, but it really is. It really is this
Mhm.
notion of let me go ahead and sell people this idea that America is great when it really isn't. And the other thought that I had in relation to that too was this idea around the notion of who actually are, who has it ever been great for, right? When you talk about America the
Mhm.
great, it's not great for anyone who doesn't fit the mold. And I think the older that I get, the more upset that I get that we're still saying that in
Yeah.
2024 when there's all these
Mhm.
terrible things that we know our country is doing. But go off, yeah, yeah,
Well, one thing I think about with that point, John, and with your point as well, Danielle, is like it's it's only great if you turn your back on yourself. It's only great if you turn your back on your loved ones. It's
yeah,
only great if you turn your back on everything and only become focused on just you,
yeah.
right? Be to Danielle's point, it's only great if you become the Amber Rose of the group. Like
Mm.
I was immensely surprised and shocked when I saw Amber Rose on speaking at the RNC. Like I was shocked and surprised because I mean it's like it wasn't shocking surprising in some ways, but shocking surprising in the context of knowing who she's been, like having gone to slut walk 2 years in a row, right? Like these things, I'm like, there is no way, right? And as someone who had her own critiques of Donald Trump for for many years, like to have the
Mhm.
switch up is like
Mhm.
Mhm.
whoa. And so and so to me it's like, oh, like I wonder if she feels that her American dream can be realized if she focuses solely on herself and throws all the things that she's done to 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 the side, which and then, or I think about like for me being mixed black and Jewish, like the American dream was never going to be sold to my dad's family because they were black folks, they were sharecroppers. So like there's no American dream there. Whereas my mom's parents, right, who fled Hungary from the Holocaust, came to America, right? Their dream was sold to them only if they turn their back on the
Yep.
Jewishness. If they
Yep.
if they assimilate, well, they speak English. They don't speak Hungarian. They
Mhm.
don't discuss their Jewishness. They change their last names. Then the American dream is possible for them, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And when I look into and now as they've passed on, and my aunt are their own people, right? But like the American dream actually wasn't what was sold to them as
Mhm.
to their parents or to them as kids. Like they actually have their own struggles, and
Yeah.
so it's an interesting thing of like we. Not, I mean, not so because I don't like the three of us do this, but I know like but folks they like become committed to a disillusionment
Yeah.
of
Mm. Mhm.
what of what they think could be. And it's an interesting thing because I think on this I think we all align of like we want to envision what could be and reach that. I often have to remind myself like I actually am not so different from the folks who are fighting against my rights, right? Like
Mm.
we actually want similar things. We want to have values that we align with. And the more I distance myself from them, the more I actually like become them, like just an opposite way. So I have to recognize for myself, like I'm actually not so different from them. Like we are fighting for the same thing in really different ways, which I think not everyone wants to think that way because I think it's hard to like
I
reckon
get
with
what you're
that.
saying. Yeah.
But it's
Mhm.
but when I think about this idea of the American dream that's sold to us, it's like, oh, but people are also becoming so committed to the disillusionment, commit to the lie, right? Commit to the lie that we were told because
Mhm.
we want to make it true and want to believe it. And it's sad because I wish that we could realize if we can accept that it's a lie, we actually can find a different truth together
Mm.
and find a new truth together. But like we don't want to do that.
Mm.
Um, So I appreciate both of y'all like raising that, because it made me think a lot about the idea of the American dream, the way it's sold to my family through two very different pathways, and how actually, like, for both of them it was still a lie. Like, for both of them
Mhm.
it was still a lie.
Mhm.
So how can we actually find a new truth instead that says that lie is actually never here to serve us, will never serve us or anybody like us,
Amen. Yeah.
and we can actually find something different.
Yeah.
And my question for you, Danielle, is that we're in the middle of an election year,
Ugh.
one that you've been commenting on a lot about yourself. And so I'm curious to ask, right, like as you talk about this, maybe as the idea of building a new dream or like dreaming more and beyond, how can the work of woke be a catalyst for positive outcomes in our politics, our media, our culture, etc.?
Ooh, good question.
Yeah. Yeah. A couple of things. Like, one, I think that in this election year, what I want people to understand is just how powerful they are, right? I want people to understand that your voice and your vote matters more than you know. That we were looking at in 2020, Biden being able to win states by 70,000
Yeah.
votes. Right? That is a handful of votes. We have 330 million Americans in this country. And so, if each of us actually exercise our power, we can begin to reimagine this country in all of its possibility. Because the thing about what you offered in terms of the American dream, and I similarly, I'm a child of immigrants. My family came to the United States from Jamaica, right? And they came here with this idea of being able to build, a better life for themselves and their family. And they did. My grandparents did. My parents did, right? Do that and have that. And they didn't have to let go of their Jamaicanness, right? But they did have a very different understanding of what Black Americans experience in this country that then would shape how they think about America now,
Yeah.
given
Yeah.
all of the tragedies that they have actually seen up close and personally. And so I think that, you know, what wokeness can do, what it can do in this moment is make people say, not that America is this terrible, awful place, but that America is actually as possible as the people are inside of it,
Mhm.
right? That,
Mm.
like,
Mm.
that
Mm.
America has, that there people like, you know, are the possibility of this country. It isn't those that you elect to put in power, right? It's you. It's your belief that if I am a young Black trans kid, that I deserve a quality education and I deserve to feel safe,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so, the one thing that I would say is that I will push back on this, which is that I don't believe that we're all fighting for the same thing and just doing it in different ways, because I'm not working to make it so that my way is the only way in this country.
Mm.
If
Mhm,
you
mhm,
Mhm.
are
mhm.
if you are a, if you are a Christian that holds certain beliefs, if you are a Jewish person that holds certain, then hold those beliefs. Just don't put that through in policy for the rest of us,
Right.
right?
Right.
Mhm, mhm,
If you
mhm.
believe that you want to start your day in prayer, by all means go ahead and start your day in prayer, but I don't want that in my public schools,
Right.
because we
Right.
Mhm,
don't all
mhm.
pray the same,
Amen.
right? So
Mhm.
if we can create a country that is built on dignity and respect for all of our differences, so that we don't have to assimilate, right? That's what I want to imagine. But we are stuck, we're so stuck in a place of reactionism right now, that we are reacting to everything, that it does not give us the space to dream about what is next.
Right.
So what I
Right.
want in this current election is for us to be able to hold on to this very imperfect project called democracy, so that we can get to the place of imagination, so that
Mhm.
we can get to the place of dreaming and not just holding on.
Yeah, you bring up something that I hear a lot of people saying, and it is this idea of like, so for instance, even with me, right? I swear one day I'm fully gonna get into it. Or I'm gonna dive into it the way I really want to. But even thinking about abolishing, the prison system, right? We have so many people who are so stuck in like we got to get rid of it. We got to get rid of it, but no one's talking. And I've heard people say this, and I think Patrice Cullors is another great person who has mentioned this, right? No one talks about the after effects of abolishing, right? So everyone's so caught up in, yes, and it's important for us to be mad about the way that this system is moving and how it continues. Even thinking about too, just that new law that went into effect that basically says if you are houseless, you can be thrown in jail, right? There are a lot of people who are upset about that, and again, I want to make sure that I'm validating everything, and I'll say this before I go on to my next point. Everything that everyone is feeling is valid. Like, I want to make sure that everyone understands that, this is not a conversation about who's right, who's wrong. I think all three of us recognize that there is something wrong here, and it has been wrong, and that's the reason why it's been continuing. The world has continued to move the way it's moving, right? But I will say that I love the idea of you saying that what comes next, because I am that person. I'm a solutions girl, right? We can stay in it for 2 seconds. We can talk about how terrible this country is. We can talk about how terrible, and that's what I've been saying, in this whole conversation about people saying, well, I don't want Biden to be president. And it's like, okay, well then okay, so map me out. Like, no shade. I'm just asking. I need you to map me out what the other option is,
Mhm.
right? What do we do after, 2028?
Yep.
Right? What is y'all are so upset right now. And I get it. Yes, Biden is just as terrible as Trump in a lot of people's minds, right? I'm not saying, I'm just saying in a lot of people's minds, that's where we're at. But my thing is in 2028, what are we gonna do? And that's the thing that I wish more people, especially a lot of people who are upset with quote unquote woke culture. It's like, well, you're so mad about me being woke. What's the solution, girl? What's the answer? Because obviously y'all not trying to change nothing, and we're all here. So what's next? And I think that's I just love that. Like we've got to come up. Like, you can be upset for the 2-3 seconds that you're upset, and I want to make sure that I validate that everybody has a right to be pissed off about everything that they're seeing right now, especially the stuff that
Mm.
we're seeing, not only that's just happening from the Democrats or the RNC, or all, where we all have the right to be pissed, but somebody's got to come up with a solution. Somebody. And it
Mm-hmm.
can't just be me.
Amen.
It can't just be me. So, yeah.
Whew.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
Yeah.
you said a word there. Both of y'all said words on this. Thank y'all so much. While people say piss, we are woke enough to know that we gotta pay some bills,
See,
or else we can't talk no more
see,
on this
yeah.
podcast. So we'll be back to do. We're gonna handle some business that is our business. When we come back, we're gonna dive into a dose of how you heal. More in just a sec.
And we are Black. So we wanted to continue to celebrate Minority Mental Health Month and keeping kind of with today's theme, right? So we've talked about this notion of everything that's happening, why we got to stay woke, but and why it's important for us to be doing the work as we stay woke, but also a part of that, and that's what ties into mental, the Minority Mental Health Month, knowing what we know, knowing how much we know. It can feel like the world is very, very bad. And I know we probably keep asking this question, but I think it's imperative that we're asking our guests, and we're constantly talking about this idea of like, how are we grounding ourselves? And so, I know you've done several episodes, Danielle, on your show about the importance of protecting, your magic, right? Protecting what makes you,
Mm-hmm.
protecting what keeps you balanced
Mm.
in what feels like, what has forever felt like, a very dark time. And so I'm just, wanting to know kind of like what folks are doing. And we've been asking our guests that, like, what are folks doing this month to stay grounded? I'll talk about what I'm doing, and then Danielle will go ahead and throw it to you, and then we'll go to you, Joho. I think for me, the biggest thing is, I used to chuckle. So I'll say this, y'all know I'm a Reels girl. I'm not a TikTok girl. I'm a Reels girl. And I will scroll Reels for hours, and a lot of my Reels, the algorithm has moved to people just like different ways we disassociate. Cats too. Cats is a very big thing. Seeing cats disassociate. My cat disassociates often, especially when she's doing something she ain't got no business doing. But as much as I laugh about disassociating, I think that for me, that has been the thing that has really been keeping me sane the last couple of months. And I say disassociation in the sense of like, I wake up and I tell myself, okay, these are the 3 things you're going to do. Then you're going to put your phone down and you're going to go watch TV, or you're going to go, or you'll just you'll lay on the couch and you can scroll Reels, right?
Mm.
And I know it doesn't probably feel the most like helpful. And maybe my therapist would probably say, I don't think that's a good idea for you. But I think for me, it's like watching Reels or watching shows and just laughing and really feeling like I just cut off a part of the world, and check in on who I need to check in and do what I got to do and love on my
Mhm.
peoples. Yes. But I really think, just sometimes you just got to disassociate. And I think that's really the thing
Mm,
for me,
mhm.
especially when I feel like I'm spending too much time on Al Gore's internet. Is really just telling myself like, girl, you need to take a break. But Danielle, what are some things that you've been doing to kind of keep yourself together?
Yeah, and I just want to start out with like a point of vulnerability that I'm actually not well,
Mm.
like I don't feel good and I
Mhm.
haven't been
Mm,
feeling good for quite some time. And I think that people feel like they should be okay.
Right.
And
Right.
so oftentimes when it's just like, oh, how are you doing? Okay, I'm fine. I'm fine. And it's just like, no, actually, I'm not sleeping well and have a lot of anxiety about
Mm.
about this moment and where we are headed. And so some of the things that I do, one, I have a therapist, right, that I've had for quite some time, and I had a session yesterday, and I said, what is this place between catastrophizing and post traumatic stress disorder,
Mm.
because that's where I'm
mm,
finding myself, and what do you call that? And she's like,
mm,
I actually don't have a name for it, but I understand, like, let's talk through the emotions and the feelings that are
mm.
coming up, because I think that it's important to name these
Hey,
things, right,
yeah.
and not just us moving into the tactics that we all use to make ourselves feel better, but to the naming of the fact that I am not feeling well. And
Mm.
what does that mean for me?
Mhm.
So, some of the things that I do, I walk daily.
Yeah.
I try and walk on a
Mm,
regular basis, just like connect with nature. Where I am, I can walk down by the water. That is really important to me. I meditate on a regular basis. I'm very prayerful, right? So like,
mm,
I'm a spiritual person, so that's what that, it looks like, looking for different words of guidance, of reading our ancestors and stories that they have told of survival and perseverance, right?
Mhm.
So I find myself these days a lot of going backwards in order to be able to go
Hey,
forward,
yeah.
because
mm,
while we are in such a dark place, there have in fact been darker
mm,
times. And so, how do we move through?
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
And I think that our ancestors have provided through their poetry, through their policy, a blueprint in a lot of ways for us to be
mm.
able to create and draw
Yeah.
from.
Yeah. Mm.
Thank you so much for being vulnerable enough to say like you aren't doing well, because I think about that a lot. Like when people ask me how are you doing, I'm like, I'm struggling right now, and they're like, oh, I'm like, don't ask me if you don't want to know. Like,
Right.
or when I ask someone, like, when someone was like, how, I'm like, I do this everywhere I go. I ask, how are you? Someone says, I'm fine. I'm like, are you actually fine? And some people are like, oh my God, I'm not fine. Or some people are like, yeah, I'm great. And I'm like, just want to
That
make sure, like,
laugh
I
cry
actually,
meme. Yeah.
like, I'll give like a double ask just to make sure. Like, if they want to get into it, they ain't got to get into it. But like, I want them to know I actually care if they're fine or not. Like, I actually do care,
Yeah.
because people ask you if you're fine, and if you say you're not, then they're like, well, have a good day. And you're like, I can't, girl. I'm struggling. Like, there's no good days to
Right.
be had, actually.
Right.
But thank
Yes.
you.
Yes.
Like, okay.
Right.
Mhm.
So I appreciate you saying that so very much. I have for the groundedness and for the protecting one's magic. Like, I mean, first I'll also say like I'm with you on being unwell. Like I there were many ways in which my life was great, but I know like for myself, like I know I'm unwell. Like I also am having struggle sleeping. I know I
Mm.
am like feeling dysregulated in my body often. I
Same.
don't like I can't like pinpoint like where it's coming from. I just feel dysregulated. And it is a fight. Like it's a fight. Like I have to fight myself to just show up and be
Hmm.
a functioning human. And I wish people could realize that. It's like, and I'm someone that everyone sees me like, oh my God, Jordan's amazing. He's confident. He's all these things, and I am all like I am all those things.
But
Um,
but also
and I also
yes.
am fighting for my life right
Right,
now. Like
right.
Yeah.
I am fighting
Yes.
for my life, y'all.
Fighting for my
Whew.
life.
Yes,
Yes.
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 Real.
But
Mhm.
so I have two things. One, there's a song by this Palestinian American singer, artist called Anise, and the song is called "Free Me," and it's all about protecting your inner peace. I play this song once a day, and especially if I'm ever feeling like my peace is not being protected. And like the core the my one of my, like my favorite parts of the chorus is it's saying, "I love myself enough to keep some space from you. You don't control me anymore. I'm not the old me. Now I'm my own me." And I really love and appreciate the concept of like I love myself enough to make sure that I'm not near your energy that is messing with me, and
Mhm.
also like you actually have no power over me, and that I'm not who I once was. I'm my own person now, and I really appreciate that, and that helps me shift a lot my perspective of inner peace. I would say second, um, I was listening to a podcast recently that was
Yeah.
featuring Sonia Renee Taylor, who I think would be a great guest on the show as well.
Mhm.
She's wonderful.
She sounds fantastic, and I've read her book. I've read her both of her books about apology, and she was talking about finding the joy even in pain and grief, that
Mm.
there truly is abundance around us if we open ourselves up to it. And that's something that I think about often, but the way she like articulated it was really just powerful for me. And I was really here for that because it's something that I say I strive to practice. I want to remind myself that the world with all its complexities and pain, it is also beautiful, right? Like we our language is like the world is shit, the world is horrible, but like the world itself isn't inherently bad or good. The world just is,
Yeah.
and the people that are around in it are the ones that do horrible things or beautiful things. And so when I take a step back, I remind myself like the world itself is actually quite stunning and quite magical. And like like there was a point she made of like we down ourselves so many times, but nobody looks at a tree and is like, "Girl, that branch wasn't made that well." Like that
Yeah.
that 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 one leaf is shaking for us. Like no one looks at nature and is like, "Oh God, you did not do that well." Right? Like
Mhm.
no one critiques things like that. And a tree don't sit there and think, "Damn, girl, my branch did not come out good." The tree is like, "Bitch, I'm giving you shade, I'm giving you air, I'm giving you little life."
Right,
And
right.
so I think I'm trying to remind myself more and more
That's a
that
good point.
I can be more like the tree
Mhm.
and less like the bitches who were like, fuck that tree branch. Like, no,
Yeah.
I'm trying to be the
Yeah.
tree and say, girl, my branches are beautiful. I'm incredible and amazing. And that is helping me be more grounded, but also find more roots in myself. Like I want to
Mm.
be
Yeah.
rooted. Like
Mm.
grounded is one thing, right? But if I'm grounded, I can still be shaken and moved. And I want to be rooted into something. I want to be
Mhm. Yeah,
immovable
yeah, yeah.
in myself. So
Yeah, those are all great
Mm.
points. Yeah, I'm just
thank
I'm
you.
vibing with the thought of like I'm not well, and I even think kind of going back to my point, I was saying like the maybe even thinking about maybe I'm not well either because of the disassociation. Like when you said I'm not gonna show up, but I'm not
Listen,
like literally I've been feeling like that too, where I just kind of sit and I'm like,
if you're avoiding reality,
what am I
like
doing?
like you are not like we but like none of us are well. Like if
None of us are
listen,
well.
we're avoiding reality for a reason.
Yeah.
And that's real, and that's also like it's also okay. But
Hmm.
I was like, who is actually well? Like show me a person who's well, and I will show you a world that exists like fairly.
Yeah,
Like I don't
yeah,
know
yeah. I'm
who
like,
is
if
like
you're
I
feeling
am well. Let me
good
tell
right
you,
now, then
Amber
we need
Rose
to
is not
figure
well.
something
White
out.
people are not well.
Yeah, yeah.
What?
Mhm.
I love to see it. Thank you for and again, both of you, thank you for being so honest because we do like to keep it honest around here. And like I don't want to give off the persona like that I'm personified like I've got it all figured out because I really don't. There are days, even like sometimes I think the biggest thing that's been holding me is getting lost in writing. Like I can sit here and write, because it's like I don't have to pay attention to anything else.
Mm.
But it's very much giving, like we are all kind of going through it, and I'm just so glad that I'm
You know,
glad you're both still here.
we're all just playing Tetris. Like we're all
Yeah,
just playing like no one actually has anything figured out. We're
Mhm.
all just reworking the blocks to see what fits
yeah,
and call that a good day,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Are my blocks maybe more fit than another person? Sure. Like maybe my blocks are very, maybe I have the first 5 rows down, but that 6 row bitch, she is down, up, return,
Girl,
circle back, come back again,
why you got that
restart.
line next to them blocks? Yeah, girl, I
Is that
it's a
like why is she
mess,
horizontal where
a
it should be
mess.
vertical? Like what is that? Like
Woo.
that Tetris is not Tetris right now. So
Right.
it really is. It is a
Yeah.
time, and y'all. While we are all accepting that we are unwell in this moment, which is okay. We are trying to get well, so we're gonna take a quick break to rest, center, relax, and come back. When we come back, we're gonna get into y'all's favorite seggy, Yes Him and No Man Pams. More in just a bit.
Ew. Okay, so we are getting into the last segment of the episode, and I will say this. So, as we always do with our Yes Ma'am and our No Ma'am Pam, this is the segment where we basically talk about the people or the things that we love, or the things or the people that we hate. And so, with that being said, I know, like I said, a couple of weeks ago, I went to Essence Fest for the first time. It was absolutely amazing. I don't know, there wasn't any, I mean, outside of, the activation that I did in terms of like my Yes Ma'am, the activation that I did, it was for Disney and it was done through Nextdoor and a few other sponsors, Hulu, a whole bunch of different other places. It was great.
Yeah.
Auntie Con was fun. I had a very good time at Auntie Con. However, what I
Yes.
definitely wanted to say is I wanted to definitely shout out the power of Black women. And what I mean is, I don't know if I've said this on the mic, but I think I tweeted it a couple weeks ago. I remember, I think it was either that Thursday or that Friday when I had got there. I got there being very heavy. As many of you know, I'm in the process of moving. I'm in the process of trying to finish up my last few chapters of my book. I also have a full time job. I do this podcast. Like, I have a million things that are moving around me. And so when I got to Auntie Con, I just was very not in my head of like wanting to be there per se. And there was a Black woman who literally stopped me when I was getting out of my Uber, and she just
Mm.
said, "You have the most beautiful energy, and I just love you." She was like, "Keep it up, baby," and she went on about her way. And I just said, "My God, the power of Black women!" Like, the idea that
Mm.
this woman could stop me and change my entire energy with just one sentence. And I got that the entire weekend I was there, from Thursday to Sunday. It was just so many Black women not only just pouring into me but pouring into each other, and it was just a really beautiful space to be in. So I just definitely wanted to say, I don't say that to say it to
Mm.
be, oh, Black women, we have to uplift them. And, Black women are powerful. We all know that, right? We all know that that's true. What I am saying is, I think there's just something so beautiful about Black women being in a space together and being able to see Black women. And I also say trans women too. There were some trans women that I came into connection to, and they lifted my energy. And I'm just going like, there's something so beautiful in womanhood, specifically Black
Mm.
womanhood. And I just wanted to say that I was uplifted by that. With that also being said, I definitely want to shout out my friend Risha. I don't know if she listens to the show, but Risha Howard, who I met via Twitter. We became really good friends. She's now over at Nextdoor. I definitely wanted to shout her out for all the work that she did, not only with Disney, but also just with Essence as a whole. Like, I think Risha is just one of the best humans to ever exist. So if you don't know Risha Howard, follow her over on LinkedIn. She's like a star over there now. She left Twitter. But all that to be said, I just definitely wanted to give Black women their flowers for that. So now getting into the mess. So for this week, for my no ma'am, I definitely just wanted to say, I think my biggest no ma'am is to the Black people who are, so I kind of have two. I have two things, and they're related, but they're not related. It's weird. So what I will say is, Black people, specifically the Amber Roses of the world, who keep uplifting oppression and keep thinking that whatever that on that side, and I say that side disrespectfully, whatever, whoever they believe that that's going to save them,
Mm.
right? It's going,
Mhm. Mhm.
literally, they are making a mockery of you. Like, that's what I want Black
Mm.
people to understand, specifically Black people who think the RNC is their friend. Like, they are making a mockery of you, period. Like,
Period. When they come for you in that dark hole night, girl, don't be
right.
surprised.
It's a
Like,
joke.
don't be
It's
surprised.
a game. It's a joke. So I definitely just wanted to say, like, I don't need to spend a lot of time going off on Amber Rose, because I mean, she's making herself look stupid, right? Like, she has
Mhm.
already done the work of what I would already be doing on this mic if I was. So I'm not going to even get irate or get upset about it. So I just definitely wanted to say that, like, if you are a Black person who believes, obviously you're probably not going to be listening to our show, but I'm to the folks who believe that ingesting any type of right winged rhetoric, or anything on the right, or anything like, oh, we any respectability politics, any of that game that's being played, just know that you literally are being used as a pawn. I just wanted to say that on the
Mhm.
mic. The second
Mhm.
thing that I wanted to say, and then I'll pass it to you, Joho. Um, I recently was, so speaking of being at Auntie Con, I was at Auntie Con, I was at a segment, or I was at a session, I should say, not a segment. I was at a session, and they were asking someone questions, and I won't name the person who was giving the talk, because I don't want people thinking that I'm being shady, because I'm not. What Anyway, we were at the session, we were talking, and nobody was they said, okay, time for questions, and nobody asked a question. And so I was looking around and I said, well, if nobody's going to ask a question, then I might as well just ask a question just so we can keep the conversation moving. So I raised my hand, asked the question, and I basically said, what advice would you give to someone who is basically trying to make it in entertainment right now when everything feels so bleak? Because that's really the thing, right? Journalists feel like it's bleak, writers feel like it's bleak, you know, creators, producers, everybody just feels like the entertainment industry is crumbling at its feet.
Mhm.
And in a lot of ways it should. But at the same time, right, a lot of people are like, I love this and I want to keep doing this, but I don't know how I'm going to do this because this is a mess, right? And so they basically gave a response of, you just have to grind. You gotta you
Mhm.
basically
Mhm.
you gotta keep pushing. You gotta want it. You gotta, when I moved here, kind of the same story. When I moved here, I had $6.15 in my bank account, and I told myself I was gonna be a star, and I did it. Right. I wanted to come on the mic and I wanted to say, fuck that. Like, I'm not here, and I'm just tired and I'm sick of hearing it. Like, I don't want people to believe that they have to grind and that they have to live in peril in order to find
Mhm.
success. Your success is your success. If the industry is not treating you well, if the rooms you're trying to be in won't let you in those rooms, you have the power and the right to pivot. You have the right to say, you know what, I don't want to do
Oof.
this anymore. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna keep fighting. And that's literally where I'm at, right? Like, when people ask me, are you
Mm.
still writing for TV? Are you still trying to break into the industry? If I break into the industry, sure, great. Yeah, that's great. But me doing the traditional methods that everyone's been telling me that I have to do, I need to move to LA and I need to work some penny any $16 an hour job just so that way the industry can like me enough to get me into a room. Fuck that. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it.
Mm.
Um, the
Mhm.
world is, in my mind, they're normalizing the mistreatment of marginalized creators. They're normalizing this
Mm.
idea that I can get over on you for pennies, and you literally have to suffer in order for you to do the thing that you love. And I just don't believe that. I don't
Mm.
believe you have to suffer in order to do the thing that you love. If if someone is telling you that you have to live on scraps and that you have to really want it and you have to take what you can get to do it, run. Like, that person,
Mm.
those people, that industry, whatever the case may be, they are playing in your face. And so I just wanted to say that on the mic, that I'm tired of us
Mhm.
normalizing struggle as success. What are your thoughts this week?
Damn, damn. Well, so I just want to say, like, I hate when people are like, you have to want it. I want to be really clear in saying, like, yes, like, you have to want it for sure, but like, you have to want it so bad. And I'm like, I actually no, I don't want to want it more than I want my sanity,
Right,
more than I want
right,
my health. Like, no, I actually don't need to do that. Like no one needs to want something. No one needs to want something into getting themselves to be like, no one should want into suffering, right? Like, don't want, like, when sometimes you have to want it so badly. Girl, I don't want to suffer, so I
Mhm.
don't, so I'm sorry, but
Mhm.
I don't want it so badly that I'm going to suffer for it. Like, it's not worth the suffering to do.
amen, amen.
And and the people who block me from doing it, that's on them, not on me. Like, it's not on me to try and find the loophole. Like, yes, I understand there are times where people will bust their ass to find a loophole, and like, I give them their props for doing that. I
Right,
really do, and
right,
say,
right,
"Girl, you did that." But like, I don't want to hear anyone say like that. That's what should happen.
right.
No, that should not. That's not what should happen. That's what we do. That's what we do, and we do it. But like, don't ever think that like if I bust my ass and I make it right, and I'm never gonna tell somebody you need to do what I did. I'd be like, I hope that what I've done work so you don't have to do
Right,
that. I
right.
don't ever wanna be like, whatever I do, I so you don't have to do that afterwards,
Correct.
because I don't want us to have to struggle or suffer to get here.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
whew, just wanna say, bump
I
that.
agree. Yes.
Um,
So what are your yes ma'ams and no ma'ams for this week?
Oh, yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Like, do I pick people or
You
do
can
I
pick
pick
it can
things?
anything
be
you
whatever
want.
you want. If people, things, a tree, it can be whatever you want, boo.
Okay. So I'm doing no ma'am to the entire RNC.
See?
Ain't nobody want that. Ain't nobody want to see that at all.
Period.
And what am I saying yes ma'am to? I haven't said yes to a lot of things. Asia Wilson on the cover of Marie Claire, the amazing WNBA player, star of the Aces, star of the league. She is the cover girl of Marie Claire right now, and it is wonderful to see
Mm.
women in sports getting their just due.
Amen. Amen.
Mm.
Absolutely adore. I adore all her and so there's two black girls I see right now in the WNBA who are getting all their flowers. It's Asia and Angel, right? Are they the two? Yes. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that I knew their names, but I was gonna say Angel Reese is having both of them are living their lives and are giving us everything. But I'm just really happy again talking about black women to see them living their best life.
Okay, so my yes ma'am Pam, my yes ma'am Pam. Damn, this week I don't know how many yeses. Honestly, I guess I would say like I'm like I don't know what's a yes ma'am, but I will say the podcast I listened to with Danielle Taylor was a yes ma'am because one I have not I have I follow Sonia. I follow Sonia. I've read one of Sonia's books, but hearing that podcast maybe just like makes me want to return to that book. So I feel like I need that right now in my
Yeah,
life.
yeah,
The messaging of that, but also was like, oh, we need to get her on the show.
yeah.
Like I need to fit in away from the show because it was just she's just so amazing. I think would be a fantastic
We
person.
got that. We gonna do that. We
And
gonna do that.
and yes ma'am Pam to listen to her because it really has like reinvigorated me and into like trying some new things for myself. So
Yeah.
yes ma'am Pam to use Sonia Renee Taylor and that episode you were on of the show that I cannot name right now. What is that show's name? I'm so sad. I'm so sorry of that show.
So sorry to that
No
shit.
ma'am Pam. So one, no ma'am Pam, yes to Amber Rose because I'm like, girl, you
A
like
clown.
you built your following and your work off of everything that the RNC is trying to take away,
Yeah.
and I just am like, wow. Everyone changes at their own rate, and I'll be clear, I'm not faulting her for change. I'm not like, if this is truly what brings you joy, girl, more power to you.
Go off,
I
girl.
you know like I pray for your safety. If Project 2025 happens, I pray for your safety, boo. Like I really pray for your safety.
That's real.
Uh,
That's the
okay.
word.
Like I'm not gonna judge. I'm not gonna judge one for what they believe is going to make them feel free. I'm just like, girl, it's a lie.
Well,
You will not be free.
baby, let me tell you.
So yeah, so no man Pam to that. My second no man Pam is just to LA traffic.
Hey, yes,
I need
yes,
to
yes,
know
yes.
who the wizard behind the curtain is here. Why do you exist? Ho, why is you here? Why do you hate us? It took me
Mhm.
4 hours to get to LA from San
That sounds
Diego
about right.
yesterday.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Like it should not take 4 hours,
Well,
and yet it did.
mhm,
I had prepared and I left at noon. Okay. I was like noon o'clock. I will definitely be here by 3 o'clock.
mhm.
Girl,
No.
why was it
I mean, it
4:40?
takes an
Like
hour to go 10
what?
miles, and that's what I
It,
keep telling
and like
people. Mhm,
it can be right. I prepped for 3 hours
mhm.
maybe. That if there's no traffic, hour and 50 minutes. Period.
Yeah.
Like it is quick. But I was like, I swear to God, every 5 miles there was some officer having the low speed trap.
Uh-huh.
Every new city on the way there was some lane closure.
Yeah.
Like what was there a police convention that I know about and
No,
happening on the freeway?
it's just
Like
LA
what was
County.
y'all doing
It's just LA
in these streets?
County.
It was too damn, and that's the thing. But like the entire way, John, like in San Diego, in Orange County, in LA, like
Mhm.
every all three counties were just giving it to me. So, whew, no man,
Yeah.
Pam, to y'all. I did not want to take it, and yet I had to. So, bum with
Well,
that. Whew, girl,
it
bye.
took me about 3 hours. I'll never forget 3 hours. So I had a speaking event in Santa Monica back in May, and it took me, and literally I left, my speaking engagement ended I think at literally 12:30. And I told them, I said, I need to be out of the room and in my car by 12:35 so that way I can beat
Mm,
traffic. And I kid
Bye.
you not, I was in my car by 12:35. I did not get home. It took me 3 hours and 10 minutes to get from
Oh
Santa
my god.
Monica back
Oh
to the
my
Inland
god.
Empire. And so like that's just my way of saying to everybody who's like, "Oh, I want to move to LA." Don't. Well, Joho, I'm just all that to be said. I know talking about like travel is can be a little bit triggering, but I'm just really glad and happy that you're safe and that you made it to where you need to be
Thank you.
safely, girl.
Thank you.
Because traveling in SoCal in general is it can be very dangerous,
It's a
and so
risk. It's a
um
risk
it's
wherever you
very
go.
risky,
So
girl. So I'm glad that you're safe. But yeah, with that being said, thank you everybody for listening. Please send your thoughts, your feedback, and your email to blackfatfempod@gmail.com. You can also send us your thoughts via social media by interacting with our post on Instagram and Twitter by using the handle BlackFatFemPod. And you can also watch our videos on the YouTubes, down to the YouTubes. Anyway, with that being
yes.
said, Danielle, can you tell folks where folks can find you?
Yes, and thank you both again so much for having me on. It's really exciting to meet people that I follow on social
Yeah.
media in real life because we're on screens.
Mm-hmm.
But folks can follow me. You can find me at daniellemoodie.com. You can follow me on social at D2Sense, DEETWOCENTS. And you can subscribe to my shows, Woke AF Daily, The New Abnormal, and Democracy Ish.
I love it. Thank you so much for being on, sweetheart.
Thank you so, so very
Thank
much
you.
for this opportunity. Really appreciate you both.
Queen Joho, where can the dolls find you?
Of course, my loves, you can find me at Joho Daniels at across all socials or my website at JordanDaniels.com. And if not there, you can find me thrown ass somewhere on someone's social media
Mm-hmm.
because it's Pride weekend here in San
It
Diego.
sure
And
is.
I'm sure someone's gonna someone's gonna catch me tossing the back. So I'm so sorry
Throw that
for
ass in
what
the
you may
circle.
see. And if it
Throw
is,
that ass in the
if you
circle.
see me, mind your
Mm-hmm.
business.
Throw
Mind
that
your throw
ass in the
that ass in a
circle.
circle.
Hey, throw
But
that ass
get
in the circle.
sexy, get sexy, okay?
Even though we don't support Sexy Red over on this podcast, but
We don't?
we
Oh my
don't.
god, my bad, my bad. Oh,
No,
I'm so
Sexy
okay.
Red
I'm
is.
so sorry. In that case, Chris, believe that,
Did you not
please.
notice
Believe
she
in
she supports Trump? You didn't know that? Yeah, she's a Trumper. Girl, where you been? How did you not?
Girl.
How did you
Okay,
not know
bye
that?
sexy. Bye
Yeah, bye
sexy. No,
sexy,
don't.
bye sexy. Yeah, no, she's a full
I
on.
literally have only heard of her at Black Pride. Oh,
No,
this is a
Mama
bop.
is
I had
a
no idea.
Trumper. She sure
No.
is.
I'm
Yes.
so sad.
Uh-huh.
Damn.
It is what it, but you know what? Everybody's stupid, so I'm not surprised. But anyway, with that
That's
being said, you can visit my website over at www.drjohnpaul.com. You can also find me online on all the social medias using the handle at Dr. John Paul. And outside of that, child, I'm just trying to get these last few chapters done. I'm just over here writing for my life. You can send me Starbucks cards. You can send me stuff. Oh, did you see that? Speaking of, and actually, you know what? Cut that. Don't send me no Starbucks card. You can actually, who's my new favorite, or at least where I'm gonna be going in a couple of minutes. I'm gonna go down to the Coffee Bean. Did you see that they added boba? They got like this new
I did. I
brown
was like,
sugar
ooh,
boba. I
okay.
want to try it.
Okay, come on, little bubble tea, baby.
Yeah, I want to
Yes.
try it. I know it's giving gentrification, but I definitely was like, "Ooh, I think they might have done something with that." So I think I'm gonna go ahead and slide through there, and make that my new coffee fix. Considering the other place that I mentioned last week decided they
I'm
wanted to
screaming.
get rid of the lavender. Go ahead and make that my new
Yeah.
place. But anyway, with that being said, we want to thank our producers over here, Bay Wang, for handling all the logistics and making this show go
Bye-bye.
every single week. And we'd like to keep everybody in our hearts over at Down to the iHeart Media for keeping this show up and running. Yes, God. Yes, Lord. We would like to also shout out our wonderful editor, Chris Rogers, because without him, we would have no show or visuals.
Period.
Because unlike
Period.
Giselle, we care about our fans. I'm just going to say that. Giselle know I love her. I love her deep. Anyway, this has been another show. Stay black, fat, femme, and fabulous. And remember to do what? Cuss them out today so you can sleep better tonight.
I know that's right.
I love us for real. Bye.
Bye.